Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Hare.
Jai Radha Madhava, Jai Kunja Bihari, Jai Radha Madhava, Jai Kunja Bihari, Jai Radha Madhava, Jai Kunja Bihari, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Jai Radha Gokulananda, Radha Gokulananda, Radha Gokulananda, Shri Radhe, Jaya Radha Gokulananda, Radha Gokulananda, Radha Gokulananda, Shri Radhe, Jaya Sita Ram Lakshman Hanuman, 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 Jaya Koranitai, 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 Jaya Koranitai, Jaya Koranitai, 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 Jaya Koranitai, Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Srila Prabhupada, 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 Srila Prabhupada. Hare Krishna. Krishna. Just kidding. No? But thank you for all singing with me. Today we'll be. Today we're reading from Bhagavad Gita 5.6. So to start, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Okay, so we'll read from 5.6. Sanyasastu Mahabaho Dukham aptum ayogataha Yoga yukto mane brahma Nachine adai gacchati. Does anyone want to go? Sanyasatu mahabaho Dukamaptum yogataha Yoga yukto mune brahma Nachine dadi gacchati. Sanyasastu mahabaho Dukamaptum yogataha Yoga yukto mane brahma Nachinena digacchati. Sanyasastu mahabaho Dukamaptum yogataha Yoga yukto mane brahma Nachena digacchati. Thank you. Word for word. Sannyasa, the renounced order of life. Tu, but. Mahabaho, O mighty armed one. Dukham, distress, sorry. Aputam, afflicts one with. Ayogataha, without devotional service. Yoga yukta, one engaged in devotional service. Muni, a thinker. Brahma, the supreme. Na chirena, without delay. Adi gacchati, attains. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. So translation, merely renouncing all activities yet not engaging in the devotional service of the Lord cannot make one happy. But a thoughtful person engaged in devotional service can achieve the supreme without delay. Purport. There are two classes of sannyasis, or persons in the renounced order of life. The Mayavadi sannyasis are engaged in the study of Sankhya philosophy, whereas the Vaishnava sannyasis are engaged in the study of Bhagavatam philosophy, which affords the proper commentary on the Vedanta Sutras. The Mayavadi sannyasis who study the Vedanta Sutras but use their own commentary called Sharyakya Bhashya, written by Shankaracharya. The students of the Bhagavata school are engaged in the devotional service of the Lord according to Pancharaktri regulations, and therefore the Vaishnava sannyasis have multiple engagements in the transcendental service of the Lord. The Vaishnava sannyasis have nothing to do with material activities, and yet they perform various activities in their devotional service to the Lord. But the Mayavadi sannyasis engaged in the studies of Sankhya and Vedanta and speculation cannot relish the transcendental service of the Lord, because their studies become very tedious. They sometimes become tired of Brahman speculation, and thus they take shelter of the Bhagavatam without proper understanding. Consequently, their study of the Srimad Bhagavatam becomes troublesome. Dry speculations and impersonal interpretations by artificial means are all useless for the Mayavadi sannyasis. The Vaishnava sannyasis who are engaged in the devotional service are happy in their discharge of their transcendental duties, and they have the guarantee of ultimate entrance into the kingdom of God. The Mayavadi sannyasis sometimes fall down from the path of self-realization and again enter into material activities of the philanthropic and altruistic nature, which are nothing but material engagements. Therefore, the conclusion is that those who are engaged in Krishna conscious activities are better situated than the sannyasis engaged in simple speculation about what is Brahman and what is not Brahman, although they too come to Krishna consciousness after many births. Om Jnana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshunummitan Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Datati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Nagutamitam Tam Sajivam Savadaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalitam Shri Vishakam Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagapate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namosute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Nindavaneshwari Vishabhanu Sude Devi Panamami Hari Priya Vanchaka Pratarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bhaivacha Patitanam Bhavanevyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shivasari Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Thank you everyone for gathering here today, coming to listen to my class. I'm not qualified, and this is for my own purification, which I need. So thank you for giving me this opportunity to speak, hopefully something useful and something nice about this verse. Actually, when I first read the verse, because someone else was meant to do the class, I was like, sannyasi? I was like, how does this apply to me? So we'll discuss a bit of that, and I'm not going to talk too much about the purport personally. I'm going to talk more about the verse and what we can take out of it. Because I was listening to Chaitanya Charan the other day, and he's saying, whenever you're reading some shastra, you should think, how is this raising my consciousness? How can I use this? So in that way, I approached it. So does anyone remember what chapter 5 is called? Yes, Anna, Karma Yoga. And what's the other? Action in Krishna consciousness. Yeah. So I think last time I covered the 5 main topics of the Bhagavad Gita, which was? Yeah. So just to repeat if you didn't hear that. Ishvara, Jiva, Prakriti, Kala, and Karma. So we're covering Karma. And chapter 5 starts with a question. It's quite similar to the way chapter 3, because chapter 3 is also about Karma Yoga. So Arjun, does anyone remember what Arjun asked? Yeah, what does he ask? Yeah. Well done, Anna. Excellent. Bhakti Shastri. Arjun's asking, he says, "Oh Krishna, first of all you asked me to renounce work, and then again you recommend work with devotion. Now will you kindly tell me definitely which of the two is more beneficial?" So he's got the same confusion as he had in chapter 3, and it's because in 4.41, Krishna says yoga sannyasta karmanam, which the Sanskrit word can be interpreted in 2 ways. So Krishna is saying renounce the fruits of the work, but Arjun thinks Krishna is saying, renounce all your activity, because it's interesting because Arjun's hearing what he wants to hear. When we listen to people who are talking, or even in class or having conversations, we hear sometimes what we want to hear. Have you noticed sometimes you talk to, you're like, oh, that class, they said this, and they're like, they took it in a different way, because we're all seeing the world through our lens and through our conditioning, I suppose. So Arjun's thinking, I don't want to fight. So coming onto that, so when I was reading this and I saw the word sannyasi, I was like, how does this apply to me? I'm a Mataji. But actually I was looking it up, and sannyas in the purport to 10.3, Prabhupada says, the transcendental attitude of the devotee in the performance of activities is actually that of renunciation, and this is called sannyas. Anyone acting under the direction of the Supreme Lord is actually a sannyasi and a yogi, and not the man who has simply taken the dress of the sannyasi or pseudo-yogi. So it's not about the externals. And then I was asking the question to myself, what is real renunciation then? So does anyone have an idea?
So, yeah, according to Bhagavad Gita, real renunciation is just to do everything for Krishna, nothing for our own sense gratification, but to offer the results of our work to Krishna.
Yeah, offer the results of the work to Krishna. Yeah, that's true. And there was... Does anyone else want to say anything?
Yeah.
That's actually what I'm going to go on to.
There's one where it's saying how if you don't offer things that you could offer to Krishna, you're not practicing complete renunciation. So complete renunciation is actually offering everything.
Everything, yeah.
Krishna.
I like that, yeah.
So it's not just negating everything.
Yeah. Thank you for arriving, Harika. So real renunciation, so Bhakticharya Swami actually says there's 3 types of people. So you see a bag of gold, one person will pick it up, they're a thief, another person says it doesn't belong to me, so walks away, and the third person sees the bag, finds the address of the owner and gives it back. So out of the 3, who's the best? So the last one's, which one? The third one. So this is a devotee that recognizes everything belongs to Krishna and offers it back to him. And Rupa Goswami, like what you said in Nectar of Devotion, the verse, does anyone remember it? So this is actually the second part. Prapanchikatya buddhaya hari sambandhe vastuna mamukshu biparithyagyo, and then it was varga falgo katyate. So he's saying in this that one is false, considering things are prapanchik, material. Mamukshubi, like you're trying to transcend the material nature. So he tries to reject things that are material and says that this is renunciation, that verse that we did. And this is actually Vayagra Falgo, this is false renunciation. And the actual renunciation, the first part of the verse, Anasaktasha Vishayan, Yartaham Upayanjita, Nirbandha Krishna Sambandhe, Yuktam Vayagra Uchate. So he's saying that, so the first part, Anasaktasha, detached, nothing belongs to me, and Nirbandha Krishna Sambandhe, we're collecting things to serve Krishna. So that's the real renunciation, is we're using everything we have and offering it, like returning the money and the bag to the owner. It's in the similar way. And then I was looking at what Prabhupada was saying about this renunciation. He says, real renunciation means perfect dependence on God. Every living being is dependent on someone else because he is so made. Actually, everyone is dependent on the mercy of the Supreme Lord. But one forgets his relation to this Lord, he becomes dependent on conditions of the material nature. So renunciation means renouncing one's dependence on the conditions of material nature. So it's an important way to look at it. It's actually having the dependence on God is renunciation. It's not about the external, being a sannyasi. It's your consciousness. And he also says in a lecture about this, he's saying that, suppose I give up my family life. You know, everyone's comfortable in their family lives. But suppose you leave it and take the life of a mendicant. It's not very comfortable. But why should I accept this position if I have no idea of the absolute truth? So that's what it's saying in the first part of the verse. That unless one is engaged in devotional service of the Lord, mere renunciation of activities cannot make you happy. So he's talking about the Mayavadi sannyasis. And then he comes on to say that, so if you don't find the absolute truth, then it is simply meant for accepting miseries. In the second part of the verse, and he says, it makes a very important point, but one who is dovetailed with Krishna consciousness, even if he is at home. So it's not about, living in the temple. It's and then he comes on to the point that it was particularly said to Arjun that you are thinking that you'll not fight. Better you're thinking you'll beg instead of killing. Because he was like, I don't want to do this. Remember all the reasons, like my family, the dynasty, his compassion. But he's saying no, but Krishna's saying you'll have to fight for Krishna consciousness. Then you'll get happiness. Simply by leveling, simply by becoming a mendicant will not help you. So again, the renunciation is an internal thing, and we discussed it in class as well, that the Jnani yogis, they go to the forest, they renounce everything, but actually often a lot of them can be pretenders, and actually it's better to be internally renounced, and constantly Krishna is emphasizing this internal renouncement. And I think yesterday we mentioned it in the purport to 5.5, detachment from matter and attachment to Krishna are one and the same. One who sees things as they are. So we mentioned that yesterday. Remember you said chocolate cupcake, carob cupcake. So these things were detaching from the matter and attaching to Krishna slowly. And I think we noticed that like yesterday when we went out on the Sankirtan adventure, we were seeing, you see other people and other things that maybe you used to enjoy, and it's not the same because we're attaching onto Krishna, and it feels different. It's not that we're better than, no, Krishna's in everyone's hearts, but yeah, it's not of interest anymore. There's a lot of dogs running around. And then the next point I wanted to cover, because talking about sannyasi, is the varnashram system. Does anyone remember the 4 varnas? You know what they're... Yeah.
The 4 ashrams, right?
Yeah, you can name both varnashrams.
Brahmachari, Grahastha, Vanaprastha, and Sanya.
Yeah, and then the 4 varnas?
The 4 varnas is the Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, and Brahman. Yeah,
that's right. So we've discussed this in many classes, and even when we were in Bhakti Shastri, like what is the purpose of this system? And we're following the Devi Varnashram because the goal and the purpose is Krishna. I think often there's like a perverted reflection of it going on sometimes in the world right now. So this system is scientifically created by Krishna to elevate us to Krishna consciousness, and we did an essay on it in Bhakti Shastri. I think you remember where we said, explain how Krishna consciousness is transcendental to Varnashram and Dhamma. What conclusion did you come to? Do you remember? That's okay. I can cover some of the points that I was saying. So I think in the PowerPoint, chapter 2 and 3 is the ones that we had to pick to discuss this. And I think in there I saw that on the bodily platform, Swadharma is called Varnashrama Dharma, or man's stepping stone for spiritual understanding. So this is how we should see it. And it was really interesting because we often get caught up in Bhaktacharya was saying that this is the means for us to achieve the goal, is the system, right? We're meant to be in it, so we work in our nature, and it makes it easier for us to practice our spiritual life. But often we don't try to achieve the goal, but we get caught up in the means of the goal. We get caught up in all these things, and then it's just a waste of time. And that really struck me. And first we should actually consider everyone as a devotee and not necessarily just their position, because Krishna is actually accepting everything we're doing, not just on our position. So we're at the temple now, and regardless of what position or what we're doing outside, we're all doing similar services. We're cleaning the ashram, we're doing garlands. So a devotee should be happy to take up any position, like a pujari should clean toilet, for example. He gave the example, Bhaktacharya Swami, but he knows that whatever he's doing is for Krishna. So your service is not dependent. Your service is dependent on your love for Krishna, not your position. And that's what we should always remember. I think similarly it's the verse which you quoted yesterday, 9:26, Bhaktaram Pushpam Phalotoyam Yomi Bhaktiya Prayachti Tad Aham Bhakti Paritam Asnami Paritat Manaha. I don't remember it, but if one offers me with love and devotion a leaf, a flower, fruit, or water, I accept it. So it's in the same way, he's not considering your position, he's considering your love that you have for him. So these systems are created to help us, but as Vaishnavas we have to look beyond it and to achieve the goal of Krishna consciousness. And then when I was reading the verse, the other thing that stood out to me was the happiness part. So in the first part it says, merely renouncing your activities yet not engaging in devotional service of the Lord cannot make one happy. So in all our lives, everyone is doing whatever they can to be happy. If you look around, that's often what life is fueled, sense gratification and being happy. Everyone's chasing, go to school, get good grades, get a good job. And it's pretty outside when we go out there. All the advertising agencies know this. This happiness is scarce. That's why they try to sell it to us. I have this Colgate toothpaste so your teeth are white and your whole family's smiling. So that's one of the things. Or you have a car and then there's an advert for some renewable eco car and you're like, oh, I need that car now. But do we really? Your car works perfectly fine. So they know this, so they're trying to sell it. So it's a scarce commodity, this happiness. And why are people not happy?
They don't know how to be happy. We don't know how to be happy. We don't know what actually brings ultimate happiness.
Yeah.
We think that, we'll be happy if we get more material things, that, if I only get this car, or if I only get this house, I will be happy. But actually, the fact is we can't be happy with nothing material.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But that's so funny, right? Because sometimes you see devotees, and it's not like they're constantly happy. And you see that the very senior devotees, they go through a lot of suffering. So it's not just about happiness. It's beyond happiness. What is beyond happiness? Love.
Transcends. Love. It's true. So that point is very true, that this happiness is fleeting, is it not? It says that a lot. It's flickering in the material world. You always say it, Dukhalam, like it's a
Dukhalyam ashashvatam.
You always say it's a place of miseries, right? So we can't expect to be happy all the time. This is unrealistic. But the fact is that we have eternal blissness. So there was a story I just want to share quickly. Like even Duryodhan, he went to Indraprastha to see the Pandavas and he got jealous. They got a nice kingdom. He comes back and his father's like, why are you, Dhritarashtra's like, why are you so upset? You've got all this. So see, we are never happy. Always looking externally and looking at others. And we want to possess more and more. And it's like that verse in the Gita, happiness, which is like poison at the beginning, nectar at the beginning is like poison at the end, mode of passion. We think all these things, that at that moment it's so much happiness. I'm going to have that chocolate gluten-free thing, and then I'm like, oh, too much sugar. Diabetes. So you've got to be careful. And we often also, as devotees, Muhammad Das was saying, drive ourselves crazy. We're like, he was giving an example, I had a dream about golf, but I shouldn't be dreaming about golf because I'm a devotee. And you start beating yourself up about these things. And it's not the way to be. We're all trying our best and we can't be perfect all the time. And from that, so how can we achieve this happiness in this world of miseries?
There is no other way. There is no other way. Hare Nam. And of course, service.
Yeah, it's true. Anyone else?
Like today, we got the opportunity, Krishna made an arrangement that the entire ladies ashram got opportunity to actually serve some devotees.
It's true. Yeah. And then like it says, so in Ishopanishad, text 7 in the purport, it says, the nature and constitution of every living entity is meant to be eternally happy. That is why we have this longing to be happy. But right now we're apart from Krishna. So this is where it stems from. Ganasha, do you want to say something?
Yeah, I just wanted to say that deep in our heart, somewhere there is a desire to serve, just serve. But you are so covered by all these material things that you don't think about it. But how you are happy when you can do something for somebody, or we can cook, or even smile, or even give a pen, or even
it's the little things,
it's
isn't
something
it?
like and you are so happy. So this, when we stop and we think that actually this is the happiness we are looking for. So not money, not possessions, not material things, but actually when we are serving each other, even when you don't have, like when you are atheist, I don't know, but you have this little thing
to serve. Yeah, that's why there's all the charitable causes that they all do, even if they're not believers in God. So it's very true. So in Nectar Devotion, it says there's 3 kinds of happiness: material, spiritual, and devotional. So that's again where it comes in. Bhogya, Tagya, and Seva is what the devotional one is. So as you mentioned, it's through service. Again, it keeps coming back to service all the time, in everything. Because through this, we have this desire to serve. And they say, lose yourself in the service of others. And that's where you get the real enjoyment.
Like the soul is pure, the soul is happy, and eternally. But
eternally. And it's also saying that real happiness is generated from love. Actual love means a love for Krishna. That's why we have this spontaneous ability to, we want to love and we want to give. And it's again the connection with Krishna. But we've forgotten this connection for a long time. That's why we're here. And also the other thing is association with devotees. So here we are in the temple, and oftentimes this devotion life can be difficult. We have to get up early, we've got to follow these things, chant 16 rounds. It can be difficult some days, but we have each other. And this what brings, on your own you can get peace, but together you can get joy. We're all together, and when we're doing service and we're really tired, like we were doing earlier, the jewelry thing, it made us happy, we're doing it together, having a laugh, or like when we're doing garlands, Anna, or picking the flowers. That's what brings us the joy. So it's being with devotees as well and serving each other, this love that we can share. It's so lovely, because all our lives, parents, they're looking for love, we're projecting our love onto others to get it. So it's really lovely being in the temple. And we have to water our roots to be happy. How is that? Through bhakti. In the devotional, the 9 processes, bhakti yoga. And he said this morning a really nice thing. He said, first we get purified, then good things happen. The Lord comes in a clean chamber, not when it's dirty. So because we live millions of lives, we're doing this process, and Krishna bestows his mercy. And there are struggles in life, like you were mentioning, Harika. But sometimes you can still find that peace, when you're chanting. For a moment when you're engrossed, or even when you're in front of the deities, you forget everything. And even yesterday when we were out on the Harinam, and this Prabhu approached me and Abby, and I was like, we shouldn't have engaged in this. But then it made me think. I was like, it was Krishna, and also it made me step back a bit. I know nothing to talk with my Mayavadis. But still, it was really nice. It was a nice reminder of, and he was saying to us that we're out of touch of reality. And I got really offended. I was like, excuse me, I go to work, I know the exchange rate, excuse me? And I got really irritated, but that was my ego. I was like, that's 100% my ego talking that, no, I go to work. But actually, I am a bit out of touch of reality, because I've been in the temple for like 4.5 months. I don't really know what's going on out there, because I haven't been checking the news. Did you want to say something? Asha, microphone.
You should have been like, we're not in touch with reality, we're in touch with the real, the supreme reality. And then,
that's what Abby was trying to say. She's like, what is reality? So it was funny, but I mean, as in to them,
not temporary.
It's like I'm going back, so I have to be in touch with it. But still, it was a nice reminder. These things like going out and doing Sankirtan, talking, gives you a reminder of we're so lucky that we have this bhakti, and we have we have the, thank you so much, Prabhupada. Like today in the morning when we're doing Guru Puja, and it was just so joyful. You forget everything. My back's really been hurting. I forgot about that.
Can I say something? Forget about that, like this incident, the reason why I was late. This whole incident where somebody comes to the, you know, to the doorstep of Krishna, and you assume that they will get shelter.
Yeah.
And then you realize, you know, how lucky we are.
It's true.
That we have shelter, that we have prasadam, that we have association of devotees, that we have clothing, that we don't have to think we're going to sleep. Asha, do you want to say something?
Do you want to say something?
But the point is gratitude.
Yeah,
like we
it's
really
important to
have to give thanks to Krishna for allowing us to live in the holy Dham. And it's a privilege to live in the holy Dham.
And to be with you all.
Yeah.
It is true.
We should be thanking Krishna. Magarma says we should be thanking Krishna 1,000 times in a day.
Yeah, we should. And that's what leads me to the next point. So Krishna consciousness is not a dry process, it's very relishable. But we have to learn the art of tasting the enjoyment, exactly what you're saying, which leads to my next point. In the verse, it says, but a thoughtful person engaged in devotional service can achieve the supreme without delay. So thoughtful. And one morning, when we were talking about Srimad Bhagavatam class, he was saying that Maharaj Parikshit was a deep thinker. And we can't practice spiritual life unless we become deep thinkers and we introspect and we look where we're going. We have to be thoughtful in the process. We're not sometimes. Some days we're like, oh, another day of garlands. And then other days we're like, yes, I'll make them all. So we need to introspect where we are. And that's what Satchidananda Swami is saying, that in our Krishna consciousness journey, we should ask ourselves, are we bona fide bhakti yogis? Are we just putting tilak on, putting a sari on? Are we imitating? It's an external thing. It's just a show. So we have to really, and again that comes to the point of sannyas and renunciation. Where are we with this? And then he gives a really nice activity that we should do, again, to help us practice being thoughtful. And he gives, you know, the verse 1865. Anyone remember it? Go on, Abby. So Timothy. Yes, always think of me, become my devotee, worship me and offer your homage unto me. Thus you will come to me without fail. I promise you this because you are my very dear friend. So these 4 activities, always think of me, become my devotee, worship Krishna and offer homage, obeisances. So these 4 things we can do every day. So are we always thinking of Krishna? It doesn't mean, obviously we're not at that stage, but we regularly read Srila Prabhupada's books, and in our day we reflect on this philosophy, what we've observed in it. And what I like is often after morning class, like Abby, we discuss the points. Because then we're reflecting, and then when we're doing service in the day, we should be thinking. Often, like Anna as well, we discuss what we listen to, and that's really nice because then we're chanting it. And we're thinking of Krishna. And when you're at a temple, it is slightly easier because everything's centered around. And then becoming a devotee with a full heart, not just the activities. Mentioned yesterday, the biggest distance from the head to the heart. So we really need to it's all with the heart, and we've become hard-hearted in this material world. So we've just softened ourselves. And then worship Krishna in some way. So have you done something today to worship Krishna? We're lucky because we're at a temple. What were you thinking before you stood before the deities? Where was your consciousness? We really have to analyze ourselves, not too much. And the last one, offering your homage. So how many obeisances did we make? And when we were making obeisances, what were we thinking? Were we saying, the mantra properly? Or we just quickly, in and out? The Lord is actually in front of us. What would you pay obeisances like that? So we have to think about this and reflect on everything. Like we get so much prasadam here. Krishna is so merciful. We get so much prasadam. We get shelter, like you were saying. And it's funny because we're strange, aren't we? Even when we get a bit of happiness, sometimes we forget Krishna as humans. So, and then throughout the day we should actually think, have you actually thought yourself to be a part of Krishna, part of the family of Krishna? And these points that you said I really like. So today when I was doing obeisances, I was thinking of it. I was like, am I doing my obeisances properly? What am I thinking when I'm looking at the deities? Today actually made me much more conscious. Where's the mind at? And Prabhupada says it as well. We should mold our lives so we think of Krishna and never forget him. This is the purpose of our human life. And this morning he said it in his class. He was like, do I want to be a Sunday feast devotee for the rest of my life? Because do you remember he was saying he goes to Sunday feasts every day? It was like every Sunday for like a month or something, or a year, I can't remember. But what do we want to be? We should give back. We have this gift, this inspiration, so many positive things. It's important to pass this inspiration on to others. That was a really nice point. Where are we going with this? So thank you very much for listening to my class. Just want to say summary. So we discussed what real renunciation was, and Varnashram system, and how it's here to help us reach high levels of Krishna consciousness. But it's not the goal, it's the means. And happiness through service, gratitude, and losing yourself in the service of others, being thoughtful and with love. And then I just covered a bit of thoughtfulness and 4 things we can do. What were the 4 things? Always think of me, become my devotee, worship me and offer your homage unto me. So this is, again, it's so nice because we're doing like Bhakti Shastri stuff, but how can we live it? We can use these points now every day. And that's the key things when I was reading it. I just thought I need to be more thoughtful in my actions and be more with the heart and practice this detachment, which I think at the temple it's been nice, but I know that when I leave, because I'm leaving in a couple of weeks, it's going to be the real test. And when I go back to work and things, this will be the test, but I know that it's just going to make me stronger in my Krishna consciousness. Because it would be nice, and I don't want to go, I want to stay here, but let's see, maybe I'll be back. And just want to end, to the degree we cultivate the spirit of selfless service, to that degree we'll actually find bliss in life. So thank you all for listening. Is there any comments or corrections or reflections that anyone has?
Thank you for a very nice class.
Thank you for being
Well researched. Good job. I have a question. I have a question.
Yes.
You made this interesting point that are we actually doing it for show? So we're actually doing it for a show until Krishna makes a show of it, of ourselves, and then everything becomes real.
It's true.
So in this approach where we're, trying to approach this eternal bliss, can we actually make everybody happy? I mean, like, look at the situation we were in today.
Yeah.
Krishna forced us in that situation, all of us.
So.
And how do you make every single devotee happy? Because that's one of the things, right? Become my devotee, serve Mahatsevam.
Yeah.
So Krishna gives liberation very easily. But devotional service will not give you, because in order to do devotional service, you don't please Krishna, you please Krishna's devotees.
Yeah.
So if we cannot help Krishna's devotees, then how are we going to understand Krishna Prem?
Yeah. No, it's true. But we can't please everyone. Remember, I think you asked that question the other day. We can only do the best we can with what we have.
It hurts the heart.
It hurts. And remember, he said in the talk, save yourself first and you can save others. Like if you're drowning, you can't pull everyone with you. You need to get to shore first, then you can pull everyone.
But sometimes I feel we just use that as an excuse.
Yeah, I think it's true. A lot of us are stuck, including myself, like in your own, you need to be more in the service mentality and think of others. I do agree with that. And but it's difficult because everyone's perception of happiness is also different. You might do this for one person and they'll be satisfied, but you do it for someone else and they'll not be satisfied. So you can't please everyone. I'm going to read that.
Yeah, actually it is said that if we please Krishna, then everyone will be pleased. And even if it may seem like they are not, it's just like, when Arjuna is fighting on the battlefield, it's not a nice thing that he's doing. He's killing his own kinsmen, friends and relatives. It may seem like, he's hurting those people. But actually, because this is Krishna's instruction, he doesn't get any reactions for that. And he ultimately is making everyone happy because they will get a new, better body. Because this is Krishna's instruction. So if we just follow Krishna's instruction, then everyone will be happy. Even though it may seem like maybe at the moment they will not be. But ultimately they will be, even if they don't realize it. But they are benefiting from us doing what Krishna wants. Because when he's satisfied, then everyone else is satisfied.
Yeah,
even if it may not seem like that for us. But of course, so that's why and to know what Krishna wants, this is another thing that we have to really inquire from our authority, our spiritual masters.
Oh, things gone. Abby, you want to say? I don't know if it's working.
Yeah, it was about, you were saying about how Arjuna, Krishna's instructing Arjuna, fight and you won't get any sinful reactions if you're following my instruction. And then later Krishna actually says that if you don't follow your duty, then you will get sinful reactions. So actually just by, I just want to please this person, but I'm not doing what Krishna's telling me, actually that comes back to bite us as well. So like you were saying, even if it, it seems like, I want to please everyone, actually, ultimately, following instructions of, Krishna is ultimately the best thing,
It's difficult.
Yeah, because he is called Rishikesh, means the master of the senses. So if we please his senses, then the senses of everyone will be pleased. And if we are trying just to please, other senses, just, I want to do so that this person like me, they like me, but actually I do something which Krishna doesn't like, I won't be happy, and this person won't be happy, and they won't be satisfied.
Yeah, it's true.
So they get the answer to my question.
Yeah, the answer
I do understand that. I understand that, but that basically, if you're pleasing Krishna, then of course Krishna will give you liberation. But I'm not talking about liberation. I'm talking about like Krishna Prem.
Yeah.
With Krishna Prem, it's more like Krishna says, he's captured more by devotional service, and devotional service is pleasing his devotees.
But I think they were saying, Abby was saying something.
Yeah, this is, sometimes you can't do everything for everyone as well, it's just impossible. Yeah.
Is it tricky?
We want to, of course we want to, because it's, if we're trying to develop this mood of, serving and pleasing everybody, but it's actually impossible. Because also it pulls us down, if we're just, trying to just be that middle person, just spreading ourselves everywhere and just, it just.
It's a difficult one. I think we need to ask someone senior. Yeah, go on, Anna. We could ask someone senior and tell us the answer. You could ask Mother Vishaka.
Yeah. Just what Abby said about if we want to please everyone, it's actually our false ego speaking, and if we want to try to make everyone happy, because only Krishna can do that.
Yeah, that's very true.
Thank you. That's a good answer.
And it is true that we cannot serve Krishna directly. We have to please we have to serve his devotee in order to please him. Obviously, we're not on this level to serve Krishna directly. So we, like Harika said, yes, of course, we have to serve his devotee. But and that's why we need to have a spiritual master and guidance. We have seniors, we have mentors to guide us what is actually, how we should serve, how we should engage in service.
Yeah, that's true. Thank you. Thank you everyone for coming. Prabhupada ki jai, Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai. Hare Krishna to all the assembled devotees.
Hare Grace Kama ki jai.
Hare Krishna. What is it again? All glories to assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. All glories to Sambuddha Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Прямо солдата